Hi, everybody. We're going to get started. Like I said, any questions you have, you can put into the question and answers section. We're going to be talking about Deep Tech Showcase, which is a initiative run by Eagle Point Funding. My name is Josh Bar-Owen. We might have met in the past. We're on a webinar, and I'm Director of Business Development at Eagle Point Funding. And we're going to be discussing the showcase is in the context of companies, investors, corporates, as well as federal agencies. So as we touch upon it, what is the purpose of the showcase community in general? So we're going to bounce between. If there are any questions that come up, we'll get to it at the end. So without further ado, introducing to you the Deep Tech Showcase. The showcase is a community more than it is an event, but they're also anchored by three annual events. It's a pilot program launched by Eagle Point Funding, where the top-notch federal funded startups pitch to investors, industry scouters from corporations, and federal agency stakeholders. The upcoming showcase is going to be held on January 28th, which is just a few weeks away. We'll talk exactly over the presentation, we'll talk about the intention of the showcase, the communities that it serves, what the mission is, as well as how to get involved. So first, a little bit of a definition. We call it a deep tech showcase because it is there for advancing of deep tech technologies. Deep tech is a little bit of an escapable definition in that nobody really has an authority of what is considered and deemed deep technologies. Pioneer tech is another common word used for it. But they're technology with innovation, which has a big potential for impact, where the technology itself undergoes a development which typically has a longer time till it reaches market ready maturity. Being that it does take a substantial amount of research to get there, it also involves a substantial amount of capital and may also require multiple partners. According to BCG and Hello Tomorrow, the deep tech fields are primarily in advanced materials, advanced manufacturing, AI, biotech, blockchain, robotics, photonic electronics, and quantum computing. And we know today that technology limitation does not exist. It's much more expensive list that goes beyond that, and also even the above industries or aforementioned industries, they themselves aren't necessarily deep tech just by being AI. Of course, there is AI which has a deep tech component to it, and that there's AI that does not. The showcase, the Deep Tech Showcase, spotlights dual use and deep tech technology. And dual use is a little bit more of a clear definition. Dual use technology is technology which in and of itself was built most likely for commercial applications, but also has a utilization, an application which could be relevant for government applications. So that's the second market. The dual component of it is that it also applies to a different market, the B2G market, the business to government market. And as a result, the dual use in deep tech market tends to have a much better chance at winning U.S. federal funding in the form of R&D grants and contracts, and also has a high potential to lead into follow-on contracting with different government agencies like the Department of Defense, many sub-agencies, DARPA, U.S. Air Force, Navy, Army, USOCOM, et cetera. And then also NASA, Department of Homeland Security, and to a certain extent, DOE, Department of Energy, and DOT. This is of note because the federal budget for R&D annually surpasses $160 billion. And this is money which is going to a mixture of academics, academia, private sector, both small and big businesses, federal research facilities. And there are 1,000 startups every year which are receiving funds in order to advance their deep tech and their dual use technology. And as we said before, often these programs tend to be oriented towards a follow-on relationship with the federal government, which provides tremendous value to not just early stage startups, but also seasoned technology companies, because this opens up a revenue stream which can be reoccurring, which is stable, and withstands pandemics or economic challenges. And so therefore the Deep Tech Showcase itself operates for this sector. This sector being the deep tech and dual use startups who have won federal funding in the last 12 months. And we are assisting these companies to forge those connections which are missing in order to advance their technology in that government sector. The Deep Tech Showcase is a free members community. It's a members only. You have to be accepted into the showcase in order to be part of it. Where we're serving the major players that are out there for the deep tech and the dual use ecosystem. Our mission is the following. We seek to advance the innovative technology that is coming from small businesses that are based out of the US, and helping them turn their solutions, their technologies, into B2G opportunity to solve US federal as well as commercial challenges. And we're accomplishing this path by creating an ecosystem which enables for tension-free relationship building between the small businesses developing the deep tech and the stakeholders themselves, namely investors, private sector, federal agencies, persons that are involved in this, representing their federal agency or their sub-agency, and corporate organizations, the bigger corporates that have thousands of employees that are involved in government primes, and also are involved in mergers and acquisitions when appropriate, and looking for that small business partner to unlock their future capabilities. So that's exactly what it is. Our community are the following: federal government, those matchmakers within the federal government, or those that can authorize pilot contracts because they're seeking innovative technology to solve federal agency challenges, and they know that small businesses with their agile development can do so. Investors, seeking anything from seed to Series A and beyond. Corporates, namely tech scouters or labs that are involved in also seeking out small business partnerships, and investment arms, so the strategic investment arms from the corporate organizations. And of course, the small businesses. Small businesses are those that are developing the dual use, the deep tech, and to show that these companies were vetted and that they're on path to that B2G, that business to government business angle. Those companies participating will have won federal funding recently. The membership terms, as far as the small business go, are pretty simple. At this stage, again, this is a pilot program run by Eagle Point Funding. Is going to be 1 year of free membership. It's starting no later than 12 months from their last federally funded award. There will be some exception to that. Of course, we understand the difference between a company that was awarded a federal funded grant or R&D contract in the last 14, 15 months. There's leniency there. They're going to be pitching to panels of stakeholders, and they'll get an opportunity of PR. But number 4 is the main purpose of the showcase, which is introductions to investors, corporates, and agencies, stakeholders. And we'll talk about, if you are one of those 3 stakeholder positions, we'll talk about what it's going to be looking like on your side, because we're working hard to make sure that this is a tension-free introduction. Only happens based on when the stakeholder has shown interest in that said company. For investors, corporates, and government stakeholders, it's a different story. This is a permanent free membership. You're a valuable resource to the showcase, but you're also there because you're seeking deal flow, whether it's to make an investment, whether it's to take on new technology for your corporation, or taking on new technology which will help solve your agency problems. You're encouraged to participate as a panelist on the pitch events. We'll talk about that in a second. Moderators, speakers at the showcase events, but it's certainly not expected nor demanded. The only demand that we have is to be responsive. If you would like to be part of the Deep Tech Showcase, you're going to be receiving emails from our team with company profiles of companies that have won federal funding, which have made commercial impact, and which could be potential good opportunities for your organization. And so what we ask for you is to be responsive. If you don't want to receive more than one or two a month or a week or whatever your time frame is, that's fine. Just be responsive and be consistent on it. The showcases themselves, and this is what I'm calling it, Deep Tech Showcase and not the Deep Tech Community, because we need to have an anchor event which gives life to this community, and they occur 3 weeks following AFWERX Awards. So this round of AFWERX has been delayed a little bit due to the high submission amount. The idea behind the showcase is going to be 3 times annually, in alignment with the AFWERX award announcements. 3 weeks following the awards, we're going to be having the showcase. There will be multiple panels and there will be multiple pitch events per each event, and 6 companies will pitch in each pitch event to at least 6 panelists. And those panelists are a mixture of investors, corporates, and federal agency stakeholders. The panels are going to be a mixture of general, deep, and dual use technology and industry specific. The upcoming showcase, the first one is general technologies, and the second pitch event is going to be for space companies and a panel of space experts. So this is the anchor of the community. This is what, are the quote unquote the flagpole or the flagship events which give this community something to gather around. But the real purpose of the showcase community is what's going to happen in between each event. How much do I pay? I mentioned this before. Showcase is totally free of charge, and the entire operation is being run and funded by Eagle Point Funding. If you want to register, and I'll put this into the chat in just a minute, you go to www.deeptechshowcase.com, and then you'll have options to register as an investor or as a corporate representative or agency or as a small business. Questions? So one question was asked in the beginning. I'll say that there. The question was whether or not we were going to be sending this out. I had not intended to, but if there's a need for it or desire for it, we can send this out. As I said, you were invited to this webinar because we think you should be. We're not opening this up too much to the greater public. I'm putting the link to the website in the chat right now. Any other questions? Just one question about who is organizing this. Just anybody who is new to Eagle Point Funding. Eagle Point Funding is the sole sponsor of this program. We are running this because we're a grant consultancy. We help companies win U.S. federal grants, and we have seen that our companies need additional support in going from between a phase 1 SBIR phase 1 to a phase 2, and they've needed an MOU or a pilot, somebody to sign up on a pilot contract with the federal government, or they get stuck between a phase 2 and delivering on a federal contract, and they need a Series A or a Series B raise. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have another question about how many people are on this call. I'm not at liberty to say at this moment. Great question. Do we work with federal agent entities outside of AFWERX? Absolutely. AFWERX is a great program, but it's certainly not the only federal grant program. There are great programs coming out of other sub-agencies in the Department of Defense. To mention of note, ERDC Works is a great program, AAL, Army Applications Laboratory. Naval X is working on really generate some new interesting programs as well, USOCOM, SOFWORX, etc. But then outside of that, there's also outside of the Department of Defense. Department of Defense has a lot of purchase power and has a lot of investment power, but there are also some really great programs coming out of NASA right now, the National Science Foundation, DOT, NIST, really great funding programs also beyond those as well. And Department of Homeland Security, I always forget to mention them, but they have a really great funding program right now open. which is worthwhile. And our clients have been very happy to be applying and be receiving money from them. Any other questions? Okay, there's a great question here about medical device and or anything NIH related. So anybody who's new to Eagle Point Funding, that's definitely a question that's going to come up. Eagle Point Funding works exclusively with non-life science technologies. And the reason for this division, which is very, very, very sharp division, is we have a sister company, Fremont Consultants, who are the best in their side of the business. They work with life science related technologies, so biotech, medical device, big farm, and anything related in the life sciences. And you're best served talking to them about anything to do with life sciences. Okay, great question. After the 1 year free membership for companies, how much is it? I don't know. That's the honest answer. It will most likely cost money. Right now, we're doing this as a pilot, see how it is, see how great it can be. I'll tell you the early interest has been really incredible. We have 61 companies that are interested outside of our network of clients. So there's a lot of interest. Not every company is going to be accepted. It's going to be contingent on just meeting some basic metrics. Which is the most obvious one we mentioned earlier, which is having won a federal award in the most recent memory. We have 4 interested federal agencies, which is really great to see also, and we have about 10 corporations, about 15 investors already interested, and we have a lot of incoming interest also coming up. So as a pilot, the program is looking to basically, my early impression of it is it's touching upon a real need from all players. Investors are looking for good, low risk, high reward investments, and a company that's been federally funded and on its way to a federal contract is a good investment because their tech has been vetted and they're on the way to create multiple revenue streams. So that's good. For corporations, they need these technologies and they don't have a good enough deal flow. So their tech scouters are out there looking for great technologies, whether it's for being a subs on their prime contracts, or whether it's being able to reach certain small business opportunities that they wouldn't able to be reached because they're bigger corporations, or whether it's there for their commercial side and not at all related to the federal side. And lastly, they're looking for mergers and acquisitions. Federal agencies, it's a known problem. Their job is to work within the agencies and to engage with the private sector to a certain point, but they have their limitations of their ability to do that. And so we're providing that there. And of course, for the small businesses, they really do need these connections which could help them either go further along in a phase 1 to a phase 2, or to bridge that innovation valley of death between a phase 2, which ends at a prototype, and the need, which is delivery on a federal contract, which might cost millions and millions of dollars to ramp out of that production or to do it, or to fine tune their product or service. And having these kind of connections seem to be able to provide really good value. Okay, any other questions? Let's just see what I have here. So that's pretty much it. I see one more question connected to medical tech. Yes, we don't touch it. AFWERX does, and other DoD programs do fund medical tech and medical devices, but again, that is outside of our scope of business. So if there are no more questions, just to finalize that question, the question was, after a 1 year membership for companies, how much is it? I don't know. That's the honest, but it will most likely cost. Because we are a business. Eagle Point Funding is a business looking to always to grow like any business does and should. So it will most likely cost in order to be a member starting from next year. Any other questions? Okay, so if there are no other questions, thank you, and take care. Have a great rest of your day. Great start to your 2021. And if you would like to know more about the showcase, I'll just put real quickly again, there's a chat there. And then if you have any additional questions, you can also contact me by email. Put that right now in the chat. Josh@eaglepointfunding.com. Take care.